Gentlemen, boys, men.
Gentlemen, who are you talking to?
Oh, look at Bongo Mike.
Hey, can I ask a question? How does the guy get a theme song on this? Can I get the theme song when I come in? I want like a song.
We used to have.
You know what I want my song to be?
What?
What's new, pussycat? Whoa, whoa, whoa. It's Tom Jones, man.
Demonetized already.
Demonetized.
2 minutes. 2 minutes. 2 minutes.
Mikey, how was the show on Friday?
Well, we have Mr. Kleinschmidt. We'll wait till he gets that. You know, it was friggin' awesome. I love those things, man. It's such a great time. Not only the music, the caliber of musicians, the set list, but just the camaraderie. Everyone getting together. It's like a big fucking wedding, you know? That lasts. It's a wedding that lasts.
Jeff Kleinschmidt, the pride.
Yeah, how you doing?
I like how Jeff's got his guitars all lined up. Everybody's waiting for bongo. Where's your bongos, man? Out on the beach?
Downstairs.
What's that coconut? Look
What
at
a good little shit, dude. At least make it look like you're a musician.
Who is the guy with the wicked frames? Is this Jeff Kleinschmidt?
That's Jeff. How you doing?
I hear you got a mean three-pointer.
A mean 3-point. Oh, you're thinking Tommy Kleinschmidt? Yeah, no relation there.
No. You should have put a basketball behind you and confuse people.
I get asked that all the time, actually. They're like, hey, are you Tommy Kleinschmidt's cousin or relative? Nope.
Yeah, I am. Come to the club.
Right.
You got to work with it, man. You got to play it up, Jeff.
Right.
Yes, I am.
He's doing basketball at Gordon Tech now. Well, DePaul Tech, whatever you hell he
Is he?
They got girls there now. DePaul College Preps. It's right down the street from Lane Tech.
Gotcha.
Good old Lane Tech. So the Pride of McHenry, Illinois Vixen Theater, Jeff Kleinschmidt. Who wants to take credit for bringing him on besides Beth Miller?
We'll give. You know, we don't need credit for bringing on Jeff.
Come on, we need credit. This is a big one.
Good effort. Sorry, I just took a bite of my protein bar, so it was Beth.
Oh yeah,
Beth. I did. It was
number
Beth
one.
Miller's.
That's what they do in podcasting school. That's the first thing. First rule is always have your mouth full chewing something when you're enjoying a show.
Hopefully, your mouth full of chewing something, Pete.
Jeff.
Yes,
Thank
sir.
you for coming on the show, my friend.
Oh, no. Thank you for having me. My pleasure. My pleasure.
Man. So who saw Jeff first or last at the Vixen? Okay, that was you, Mike?
I was at the Vixen Friday night. Yeah. So
Yeah, we ran into each other.
We did. You know, it's funny because I had to pull. I mean, it was a crazy night. It was a great crowd. What was the event? The event was the 5th Invitational Kerry Devine Annual Birthday Bash, where Kerry, who used to be in the band Lava Rock, he moved out of state probably 2 years ago. Is that about right, Jeff? 2 years ago?
Yeah, something like that. Yep.
Yeah, he moved out to, I believe, Colorado. And once a year, minimum, Kerry comes back. And that one time for sure is in January to celebrate his birthday. This is something that Kerry started about 5 years ago, where he does an industry jam. He invites musicians to come out, pick positions of a song set list, right? So Kerry creates a set list, and then you choose your slot. What do you want to perform on? It brings out probably, I don't know, anywhere from 20 to 30 musicians, vocalists, everybody in the Chicagoland area to come out and collaborate. The cool thing about these events, no practice. You know, people just go out, they do their homework, they hit the stage, and they're ready to jam. And I got to tell you, man, I've been to a lot of these. They do a kick-ass job. You would never know that these musicians didn't at least put at least one rehearsal in, because they just knock it out of the park. So Jeff hosted, I think this is the second year, Jeff, that you hosted it, right?
Yeah.
Second year.
Second year. Yep.
Yeah, second year that Jeff hosted it at the beautiful Vixen. It was this past Friday night. And like I said, man, it was a great event. I don't know, they probably had, I don't want to guess on numbers, but it was elbows to elbows. It was a great crowd. And which is really interesting because it was a Friday night, right? There's a lot of bands playing on Friday nights, and you're competing with a really good market out there, and the ability to capture that audience and get those musicians to commit to something like that. That's a huge testament to the Chicagoland rock scene and the fans.
Yeah, so, and you know, those musicians are giving up their paycheck for the day to play somewhere else where they can get a little bit of money, and coming to our event where they're playing for free, and obviously all the money goes to charity. And
Right.
this year was Turning Point and Domestic Services in Crystal Lake, which is a very worthy charity, obviously. And so we're always honored to have that people will not only take time out of their day to do it, but forego a paycheck for the night. Let's face it, a lot of you guys you're only making money 2-3 nights out of the week. So
Right.
very honored to host it, and that everyone took part of it. And like I said, there was over 40 musicians there, Mike.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy. And that's not even counting the musicians that were in the crowd. And I think actually a few of them got up on stage unrehearsed, unscheduled, because certain musicians had to cancel because there's a virus going around. People got sick. I know Wolfgang Paul jumped up there, did a few songs. Peter Dankelson from Pete's Diary, he was a last minute ad, and it was just great, man. It was such a cool vibe.
Yeah, it was. And thanks for coming out. It was great.
Oh, absolutely.
I wanted to go to that, man. I thought it was Saturday. I had other plans on Friday. I couldn't do it, but I was there last year, and it was fantastic. Great event.
You have the Water Buffalo Club every Friday, right?
I do. The Moose Lodge.
The Moose Lodge. I like the Water Buffalo. I'm a Flintstones guy, man. Come on.
So I'm sure we got videos from that show Friday, right? We'll put a couple right here.
Yeah, we'll find. There's some videos out there. There's a good one of, I mentioned Pete Dankelson. I just saw it today. It was Pete and Kerry. They were doing an ACDC song, which is a long way to the top if you want to rock and roll. Where Pete was, Kerry was playing the bagpipes. And you don't see a lot of bagpipes on the scene, man. So it was really cool to see that.
Dank and Crank.
Danker the Cranker.
I told Kerry he has to bring the bagpipes out this year, and there was no one better to play that part than Pete on guitar. Obviously he's a huge ACDC guy, and it was a perfect pairing.
It was, man. Like fine wine and cheese, right?
Right.
Wine and cheese for us North Shore people that haven't gone out to a McHenry yet. Jeff, can you tell us a little bit about the Vixen? How long you been there, and where in the chronological existence does the Vixen come in on these theaters that are getting spruced up to put music in there? It's like,
yeah, so the Vixen came out of the McHenry movie theater, and I wasn't involved during COVID, but was a movie theater. Obviously, everything got crushed during COVID, and that theater was never super popular to begin with. It was a small theater, couldn't compete with the megaplexes, but those investors that had a piece of it did a great job of keeping it alive, and that COVID just killed it. So instead of shuttering it, a couple of the investors said, "Hey, let's turn this thing into a music venue." And one of those investors was a guy that I did some festivals with, and he asked if I would be interested in buying the talent for the venue. Now, granted, at this time it was still a movie theater. They just started doing the demo. That would have been, I think 22. Yeah, I think January of 22. And so I walked through it, and there was, none of them were music guys. So there were some things that they were doing that I kind of questioned and brought up. And they asked if I would sit down with the investors and talk to them about it a little bit. And I did. And then after the meeting, I said, "Hey, I'd like to be an investor." And
Jeff, I want to pause there. Like,
yeah.
what were the things that you were questioning? We can edit this out and post if you don't.
No, it's fine. The stage they were building was they said straight up they wanted national acts there, and the stage they were building would not have housed any national acts. Definitely not deep enough, definitely not wide enough. I told them that they needed to put in a bathroom with showers in the green room. And they're like, "Showers? What do we need showers for?" And then, I told them, "I got a better one for you. We're going to put in a washer and dryer back there." "What do we need a laundry room for?" Well, guys, you explain guys are in tour, they're living on a bus, as some of us have done. And then you go. So anyways, it was those kind of things. They were going to do some really cheesy lighting that they bought off of Amazon,
Right.
Stuff that makes Blizzard look fancy. It was that kind of stuff, but not because they were trying to be cheap or short-sighted. They just didn't know, right?
Well, they want cash flow. They're like, I don't want any expenses. I just want to see money coming in, right?
Right. Well, no, I'll tell you about that. The investors involved in this project, they're not shy about, you know, opening the checkbook as am I, as long as we know there's going to be a return on it and we're creating a quality product. A lot of the money that's made from that venue goes right back into it. We're always trying to improve. We always try to upgrade our audio, our lighting, our video, all that. So anyways, so I asked if I can be involved. There were a couple movie theater investors that wanted out because they weren't comfortable with the liquor aspect of it. And I was fortunate enough to be able to buy those people out, and away we went. And, there's, a lot of times I get credit for the venue because I'm the face of the back room, and Aaron Dullum, my general manager, he runs the front, and he gets a lot of credit for being the guy in the front. He done a wonderful job. That guy's amazing for us. But there are other investors involved. They're just kind of behind the scenes guys, or the guys that are, they'll call us or come to our weekly staff meetings, but they're hands off. They trust me and Aaron to do what's best for the venue.
So you're like the quarterback, Jeff. If it's a great show, it's all your credit. If it's a stinker, it's your fault.
Oh, those stinkers kill me. Those stinkers kill me, man.
The reason why I'm bringing it up is you have, new money coming in, and they have a certain set of expectations, and you don't take over that gig till everybody, the I's are dotted, the T's are crossed. This is what we think is going to go on. Did anything like that go on? You said a couple people backed out, which is kind of, premium theaters are like, I thought, the rage. I would think, I don't know why alcohol would run into an issue unless Dram Shop or anything like that. But
just some people aren't comfortable with being in the there's a lot of liability with owning a bar, right? I mean, even with Dram Shop and all that. So some people just weren't comfortable, or they just said, hey, we did this for the, a lot of people did the movie theater thing to kind of be, to kind of be just
alive,
do the right thing for the community and keep the movie theater alive. It wasn't more of it, but once it became a music club, we're like, it's not my thing.
How did you set those expectations, though? That's got to be the hardest thing, because okay, just cover bands, low risk, low payout, and we'll just get a stream coming in here. Like, what did you do at the beginning? Did you go, I mean, you had a business plan. You said, I need X amount of dollars to carry us through X amount of months, because that's the number one reason why businesses fail, right? They don't have enough capital to keep going through the rough times. How were those early days, and how did you set expectations?
Well, I went in real early and said, listen, because they thought we were going to have, huge bands right off the bat. And I said, that's just not going to be the case. We're a new club here. I got out a huge map before I went to my meeting, and I put a pin in every little city that had a club similar, from 400 cap up to 1,000 cap rooms, the Arcada, the Rock House, Belvedere, everywhere, Chicago. And I think there was like 26 or 28 of them. So I said, here, we're competing against these 28 other venues for all the same talent. And we don't have a history. Ron Onesti has a history in the market. He's been 25 years. People know who Ron is. They want to play his venue. They don't know the Vixen from anything. So this is going to be a slow roll. And that's how I brought it to people. That's exactly how I did. Now, we were very lucky. I think the area was so starved for a really good production club that, even early on, I mean, our first act ever there was the Gurus. And then the very next week we had the Femmes of Rock, which is a violin band from Las Vegas, rock band. I won't call them a national, but more of a national. But anyways, so the first 6 months was pretty light on national acts, but people still came out for the locals. They really did. So it was well supported from the beginning. We never really struggled financially that first year. It did tail off a little bit, the following summer, but not horribly. It's been really, really well supported by the community. It really has. And when I say community, I mean McHenry County, Lake County, even a little bit into Wisconsin. People come out. Yeah, we've been blessed. I mean, we really have been blessed. And like I said, I think a lot of it is, we have a great sounding room. I have great staff. I'm so blessed to have the staff that I have. I mean, Dave Treadwell, my audio guy, Sean Garrity, my light guy. Like I said, Aaron, I have Melissa's hospitality, bartender, security. We're just blessed. I mean, we got great people, and they all buy into the thing. They all buy in. They all want us to succeed. They stay late. They come in early.
It is pretty amazing though, because there is a lot of there's more competition, especially from that theater vibe, right? I mean, before it was the clubs, right? The venues, if you will. I think theater's more of a venue. It was the clubs and everybody going out and drinking. It's a totally different feel when you walk into these music venues that are designed specifically for music. And you get that feeling when you walk into the Vixen, when you walk into the Rock House. Of course, we talked about Onesti's places. It's just, you're not going to grab a burger, a beer, and then watch a band. I mean, you're going there with the intent to check out this particular entertainment. And it's a cool place, man. It's a cool vibe.
New Year's Eve. How was New Year's Eve, Jeff? I heard you blow up 1,000 balloons.
Yeah.
At least I thought it was balloons.
I hope you can blow up 1,000 people. Oh,
it was amazing. We did an all ages New Year's Eve balloon drop at 8:00 for like families.
That's awesome.
Had almost 500 people there for that. Super well attended by the public, and then we flipped the room within an hour, and we were open for over 21 from 9 until 2 a.m, and we were at capacity all night, over 1,000 people in that venue. It was amazing.
Did you have a musical act there, a DJ? What'd you have?
We had a DJ. Yeah, it's young kids though. Yeah. I'm not going out. Me and you aren't going out on New Year's Eve, Mike.
Hell no.
So that's interesting, Jeff. You have even when you have bands there, I've noticed that you'll turn that room pretty quick, and then it turns into this DJ. You have the DJs ready to go, and then you go till what, 2 a.m. with the DJs on the weekends?
We do. We go to 2:00 in the morning, and a lot of times that DJ will if we have a bad night with an artist, it'll save the night. I was really against having that DJ. I thought it was going to be a lot of trouble and a lot of young kids, not behaving themselves. But it's been the opposite. It's been a really good thing for our venue, and again, well received in the community, and very little trouble. And in hindsight, it was one of my partners brought that up, wanted to do it, and it was a great idea.
It's a fantastic idea. I've been over in Europe a few times, and I've gone to see bands while I'm over there. And it's interesting because the band, it could be a national act, right? They'll start at 7:00. They're done by 10. They flip the room. It's DJ. And I mean, you'll be like passing people as you're walking out. They're coming in for the DJ. But the cool thing is it keeps it keeps the till turning. And I think it's a brilliant idea, especially for the older guys like myself. I don't want to be out till 2:00 in the morning playing music. If I could start and be home by 11:00, start at 7, 8:00, be home by 11 and in bed, I'm a happy camper, man. I got a life to live.
Yeah, we're hearing that sentiment a lot from not just the attendees, but the artists as well.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Their investors aren't getting paid off of you, Dermont, or me, or for
no. Well, that's But if the DJ's helping them out, God bless, man.
Yeah,
well, I was going to ask.
Great idea.
Because when you do a theater versus a club or a bar, I mean, you have a fixed window of time where you have to make money, and it's either everybody's running in top form or they're not, because the show's over. How much people are going to file out? Then you got to turn the room and put something in there. How was it doing? Is there a special license in McHenry food liquor where there's the cutoff? Is that the 9:00? Like, how does that work? Is that such a wristbanding or
for our all ages? You mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, we have to wristband them, and they have to be out there by 11. We end most of our shows by 10:30 usually, and we do have some shows that we won't have all ages. We've had some hip hop shows where we haven't done all ages. It's gonna be 21 and over. We've had some comedy shows that are a little bit on the blue side. We'll have those 21 and over. But I'd like to. I came up with a time where you guys did, like where we can go to the Thirsty Whale, or we go to Chances Are, or Medusa's, where you can go on a Sunday and watch a show. And I don't want to, I like having I love seeing dads there with their sons or daughters, or when we have some of those bands, like when we had that Four Horsemen, a Metallica tribute, I could not believe how many fathers brought their sons out. And it was, maybe they couldn't afford to go see Metallica at Soldier Field, so that might have been their night out, So I love that. I love seeing it. I love the feeling of it. I mean, I purposely walk around and talk to those folks and hear their story. And, I love that. I love the all ages thing. I get a little fearful because, like, we had to throw someone out last weekend because they had three kids with them, and the dad, we saw it. My security saw it. The dad came in and bought beers for his 18-year-old kids, and they're wearing a wristband that says over 21 or 21 or whatever. They caught him in 3 seconds, and it's just like, that's the shit that the guy left. He knew he screwed up, and he left.
Yeah, he's lazy. Why didn't he buy him a fake ID?
He must be from Wisconsin, because can't you do that? If your kid's 18, you can buy him beer if you're from Wisconsin. Maybe that's what it was.
I don't know, but that's the crap that's going to ruin it for us. I tell people all the time, man. It just
that $30 can ruin 300 grand, right? So
yeah.
Question about on the booze side of things. Now, I haven't been in the bar business since weed was legalized, but has anybody seen or heard that once it was legalized, it's hard enough to get people to spend money in the bar, bringing in a flask or something. But now that all the kids are doing weed and all this other stuff, do you see that hurting the bar ring at all, Jeff? Or has anybody heard of that?
I don't come from the bar world. I come from the concert world. So I don't, this is my first venture with an indoor bar venue. So I can't speak much to it, but from people I know in the industry, other venues, I go to NIVA every year, which is National Independent Venue Association. And, they have a conference all over the country every year. And all those, seasoned club owners all say that it's been seriously affecting it. There's that. And also, let's face it, kids aren't drinking what they used to. I mean, we have a fairly large non-alcoholic offerings, and I see 22, 23-year-old kids drinking it, and great for them. I mean, I think it's alcohol isn't for everyone. I just wanted to, at least I want to come in and buy something though. So
yeah, right.
But I definitely, from what I've been told from seasoned bar owners, that the younger generation isn't drinking as much. I think that definitely the legal weed sales have probably affected it a little bit.
Yeah. Well, the other ways to recoup money, people have gotten pretty aggressive on, selling out tables. There's got to be a way to getting those pre-sales on those tables. That's a nice little chunk of change the investors like, huh, Jeff?
Yeah, the tables, our drink prices aren't prices that you would go to a corner bar. They're because that's the only way we make, that's the only way we make money. If we're lucky, we're making 10% on the box office on a good night after we pay, our sound, our audio, our stage guys, insurance, security.
And then nothing after taxes.
Exactly. So, we have to make it on those drinks. And we also, ticket fees are very controversial right now, but ticket fees are also a way that we make a little bit of extra money on the back end. We're very, very modest with our ticket fees. We charge about $4, and $2.75 of that goes to our vendor. So we're only making about $1.25 on a ticket. But that helps, that basically pays our cleaning fee is how that's set up to do. On some of our bigger shows, when we have, a $50, $60 ticket, we'll probably put a $5 ticket fee on there. There's a lot more cleaning as well. So, but that's another way to kind of make a little bit of money. We still take a small merch cut from national acts, another way to make some money.
Yeah.
But it's not an easy business,
That's what I'm trying to put out there. You got to have kudos, or I don't know what you got to have to say, why the hell are you in this? Oh, I just open up the doors. It'll be fun. Not a problem.
Well, I think it's good that we're having this conversation, right? For those people that watch the podcast to really kind of get the behind the scenes and what it really takes, not only to run the venue, but to run the venue at some sort of a profit that you can keep the damn doors open, because you'll hear a lot of people complain about, oh, the beer price was too much, or I'm not going to pay $10 or $15 to see this band. Well, if you're not going to pay it, then you're not going to have bands. I mean, at the end of the day, that's what it is. I mean, it's not cheap, right? I mean, you look at just where our economy is, and of course, we don't want to get this to be a political show, although Pete likes that.
Well,
It's tough. I don't care if you're going to the grocery store or you're going to, the Vixen, man. Shit is expensive. You got to keep the lights on.
It's expensive, and when we have the national acts in there, those prices have gone up. It's crazy what we have to pay some of these national acts. But I'm friends with a lot of tour managers, and they tell me what it's mind-boggling what it costs for an artist to be on the road right now. It's mind-boggling.
Exactly. You think about it. I mean, the transportation costs alone. We will complain about what our gas prices are. Well, these guys have to fill up a tour bus, right? They have to stay at hotels. All of that comes into play. Again, the logistics and all the math that goes into putting on these shows, there's a cost associated completely down the line, right? So got to get paid somewhere. You're not going to have those.
Well, I can go to Sam's Club and pay X amount for a beer. Well, that's not how it works. You go
to Sam's Club, man. Go to Sam's Club. You're not getting the entertainment.
You're not getting the entertainment.
Sam's Club, and then the taxes.
Yeah.
So talking a little bit about national acts, I got to ask you, how did you snag Glenn Hughes from Deep Purple?
Oh, how did I snag Glenn Hughes? I'm friendly with his agent, but I did a show with Glenn. Glenn's also in a band called Kings of Chaos. And I did a show with Glenn years ago from that. And I just fell in love with the dude as a performer. That show, he was amazing. And he was a great guy. And so I would always tell his agent, man, if he's routed, I want him. And a couple times he came through, and again, Arcata, Des Plaines, and then finally the agent called me and he's like, you know what? Ron doesn't want it this time around. You could have it. So I was like, I'm on it. I'm on it.
I'm surprised because he could technically play Arcata and the Vixen. I mean, it's the proximity to those two clubs. I mean, would it water down his audience a little bit? Maybe,
Well, it's not Glenn. Glenn doesn't care because he's going to get a check from both of us. It's Ron that cares, or whatever venue. And it's the radius. Radius clauses are usually 50 miles minimum, and they're usually more like, now that we're paying so much money for these artists, all of us are going, hey, I want a 75-mile radius. I want a 100-mile radius. Ron has started playing pretty nice with me in the Sandbox and has let me have some shows the same as he has. Frank over at the Forge has always been very generous. We've shared acts. We had LA Guns a few months ago. They played us one night, and there are, when you're paying a lot of money for these acts, you get territorial when you're,
Let me ask you a question about that then. You say getting territorial. How do you know how far the fans are driving to get to see a Glenn Hughes at the Vixen? As an example, I live in Carroll Stream, right? I mean, it's going to take me a good hour, 10 minutes to get to the Vixen. How do you know where I'm coming from? I mean, do you guys, because if you have this, whether it's 25, 50, 75, how do you know?
It just past ticket data. We obviously, when you buy a ticket from us, your zip code goes in there.
Okay. And you guys are using that then. So you can go through, run a report and say, we know that it's working the 25-mile radius we're getting here. Once it gets out to 50, we're not getting dick because no one wants to pay the gas or drive the hour and a half or whatever it might be. So then isn't that kind of a negotiating tool that you sit down and have a conversation with another venue, say, listen, we know what our catchment area is. We're not pulling stuff in from, if it's 75 miles, 50 seems to work for us. I'm going to assume it works for you. Can't you play nice and fair that way?
Yeah. It depends on the agent or the talent buyer or the venue. Like I said, Ron for a while was not really receptive to it. But now he is, and we kind of have a deal. Hey, Ron, if we do the same act, I'm going to market. I'm not going to market Kane County and DuPage County. I'm going to market Lake County, McHenry County, and north into Wisconsin, and you stay out of my area. And we haven't done much. We just started talking a while back on that. Same thing with the Forge. Same thing, with Belvedere. but you'd be shocked how far people come from for certain
That's
acts.
good. That's
I
good.
mean,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, we've had, heck, we had Hinder last year, and a girl in the front row had a sign that said, "I drove 17 hours to get here,"
Yeah.
and I thought she was full of it. I asked her, she's like, "No, I came from Washington D.C."
That's
And
great.
and she's like,
Well,
I love Hinder. They haven't played Washington for 2 years, and so it's crazy. I had someone from England come to see. They were here in the States on business, but they were staying in Chicago, and they saw that Life of Agony was playing, and Life of Agony, I guess, hasn't been in Europe for 25 years or something like that. So they came out for it. So
that's awesome. Well, if you get Y&T, I'm coming, man. I don't care.
I've talked to Jill multiple times. We just can't make it work because I love Y&T too. So
yeah, I know you do. I've got to do my Y&T plug. I'm sure if it was working in their tour, they'd be there. But that's another place that Onesti always grabs Y&T when they come through.
Yep.
Jeff, you have everybody in your ear saying, "Hey, why don't you get this band? Why don't you get that band?" I'm like, yeah, okay, boom. Not a problem. Jam Productions, what's that? But just throwing it out there. I worked at a place where the strategy was you would take a fixed time period and you would overpay for the bands to get cred and then wean yourself off. You're in McHenry, not in Chicago. Could that strategy work out if you did have investors that would pay for these acts who you can see in Pollstar or whatever the literature is, you can see what the attendance is, to overpay for some bands? Do you think that, are you too far out there for that to work, or is there a form of that strategy that you could say, you know what, for 6 months or these months of the year, we're going to do these types of acts and have the carryovers spill out for the rest of the year, and then have the cover bands in and recoup there?
Yeah, we've overpaid a lot already.
You said something interesting. Let me just interrupt. You said have investors. So you're saying you book out a certain number of bands and you have other people come in and invest on that and get a return on it if it's
you get, they say they're silent, but they're not, right, Jeff?
Yeah, no, my investors they are pretty silent actually, but no, they're like I said, I'm blessed to have those folks. They do give me a lot of leeway, but there has been times where I've gone and I've overpaid. I've had a lot of offers where I've over offered and still haven't got the act.
Yeah.
But I go to them and very, very rarely have they ever said, I don't feel comfortable with this. Bone Thugs and Harmony was one that we definitely overpaid for, but it paid off. We had 2 sold out shows and we made, probably 5% of the box office, but we had 1,700 people in 2 days through the venue. We definitely overpaid. I told some of my talent buying friends throughout the Midwest what I paid for. I'm like, "Oh, Jeff, oh," I'm like, I believed in that one. I knew it was going to do well. I just had to entice them, and
Jeff, tell people about that game where, look, you have a national person that's booking stuff and they have to route things through, and if they take care of you, then they're going to piss off Chicago and other venues. Can you talk a little bit how that works, or you don't know anything what I'm talking about?
No, I know a lot what you're talking about. This is a relationship business, and agents have to keep their relationships, and so they have their preferred venues that have been their clients for many, many years, and they're going to give them the first look. I come from before the Vixen. I came from the festival world, and I had a lot of first looks. I had a lot of agents that I had relationships with that would come to me. So the venue side of it is completely different agents, and it's taken a while to get them relationships built up. But we're getting there, and it's a lot of doing like those prominent agents. They'll call you and say, "Hey, I have this act coming through. I need a place for them." And I know I'm going to lose money on. I know they're not going to sell well.
What's the ratio on those, Jeff? The stinkers till they finally come back to you to give. Have you ever gotten a good one yet?
Yeah, no, I have. But it depends. I mean, I have a act coming through that I haven't announced yet that I really didn't want, but I've probably put 7 to 10 offers into this agent over the last year and haven't got anything. Sometimes he doesn't even acknowledge I sent him the offer. So when he called me and, and it wasn't, believe me, it wasn't a horrible app that it's not going to pull people, but it's just probably not going to cover. We're going to take it, and we might lose a little bit of money on it, but I'm starting to build a relationship with him. And since I put that offer and it was confirmed, he's given me a couple other things that I've looked at that I haven't really been interested in, but it's just all building relationships. It's a relationship business. It is. You don't burn any bridges. You don't talk shit about people.
Yeah.
It's a small world as well. There's been times where, I've had to call one of my festival agents to say, hey, I needed to vouch for me. I'm trying to get this offer in for so-and-so band. And, I'm not getting any love from your club agent. Can you put a good word in for me and tell them I'm not an asshole?
Part of it though, too, it is a marketing game as well, right? So you might overpay for a band knowing that they may or may not do as well as you want them to, but the name helps the club too, right? It kind of puts not that the Vixen needs to be in the map. I think they have a strong reputation, but it gives it's street cred, right? You bring this band and people are like, wow, look who's playing the Vixen. That helps you guys.
Absolutely. And you know what, when I have, there's months where I don't have any nationals or very few nationals, and people are like, oh, you're just another tribute band bar, or you're just another local bar.
Yeah.
And it's like, you have to get some nationals. You have to be diverse. I don't want to be just known as a metal bar or a country bar, or a tribute band bar. I want to be, I try to be diverse. I do book with intention. I plot out my year. And I say, okay, I want to do X amount of country, X amount of rock, X amount of punk, X amount of hip hop, comedy. And then, I make a systematic, chart that, you hope it somewhat comes together, but it doesn't.
Right.
You start plugging in things here and there. And, we're first of the year right now. I sent out probably 30, 40 agent emails. All the agents have been gone since Christmas. Today's everyone's back in the office. So, today I was working the phones and sending emails like crazy and sending out available dates and,
is South by Southwest still a thing? Like where do you go to rub shoulders with
I don't go to South by Southwest. I wouldn't mind.
Is that even still happening?
It's still happening. Yeah,
Yep.
It's still happening. I go to Pollstar in Los Angeles in February. I go to NIVA, which is National Independent Venue Association, which is a bunch of club owners, which is probably my favorite event. IEBA, International Entertainment Buyer Association in Nashville every October. There's another one in New York that I haven't been to in a while, but that's more of a performing arts center one. A lot of variety acts, magicians, comedians, not so much music on that one. So go to those. And I go out to Nashville probably twice a year besides IEBA, and knock on doors and meet people.
What's the best way to meet people at those things? You just walk in, or you already know people, but back in the day, like, hi, I'm Jeff. Here's my business card. I would like
What's the elevator pitch, man?
Pretty much. I would always kind of stalk out who I wanted to see. The particular agents from agencies that are, you find out who your territorial agent is. They're territorial. And you go on LinkedIn, or you go on, try to find out what they look like. And then you're looking around that ballroom for that person, or see them in the bar. And,
do you want them sober or drunk?
I think sober's better.
Yeah.
I think sober's better. So they remember you.
That's right. And they're not talking shit, right? People have a tendency to kind of embellish when they drink. Oh, yeah, man, we'll do this, we'll do that. Then the next day, who the fuck are you?
Right.
I said, what?
And I got to tell you, like I said, I'm a big proponent of NIVA, and that came out of COVID. It's
what is NIVA? I don't know what NIVA is.
It's National Independent Venue Association, and it was pretty much spearheaded by I'm drawing a blank on her name. She runs First Avenue up in Minneapolis.
Okay.
And they were the lobbying arm that did all the Save Our Stages money, which kept venues open or paid during COVID, where you pay our employees and whatnot. The Vixen didn't open during that time. It was a movie theater then, but my festival business suffered greatly. And if it wouldn't have been for NIVA and Save Our Stages, and the government stepping in and helping us out, I don't know if there would have been a Vixen, or I would have been maybe not involved in the Vixen. I would have been back making furniture.
Yeah.
But anyways, so NIVA's National Independent Venue Association has been around for about 3 or 4 years. And it's just venue owners. They have a conference every year. The first one I went to was in Cleveland, and it was attended by like 200 venues. Last year in New Orleans, it was 700 venues.
Wow.
It's just blown up. This year's in Milwaukee, in June in Milwaukee is this year's. And
Boys, road trip.
yeah, it's a phenomenal.
I'll bring the on-air sign.
There you go. Just walking around your sign.
But I mean, those are the people that, I really, really have helped me out a lot. There's other talent buyers there and other venue owners there, and you talk to them and, you're like, hey, what's working for you? What's not working for you? And, that's how I met, Kevin from Machine Shop up in Michigan, and Julie from District in Michigan, and, the girl from the Troubadour who I talked to once again while out in Hollywood and Los Angeles. I pick her brain once in a while, and they've helped me. Hey, have you talked to this agent? Have you done this? Have you thought about this? And I talk to other venue owners every day, usually via text. But hey, what's working for you? Or hey, I see you had Tab Benoit on at your venue a few months ago. How did that do for you? And I see you had Seven Dust or whatever. That helps a lot.
Yeah, it's interesting you mentioned that. We had Bob Cozza on here a couple of weeks ago, and Pete brought that up. Like, is there a commission just here in the Chicagoland area where you as club owners, venue owners get together and talk about kind of best practices like they do in other industries, whether it's an advisory board, whatever you want to call it, just like what's working for you, what's not working for you. Have you had this band? Whether it's on a national or local basis, I think that sharing of knowledge is important because, again, at the end of the day, we're all in this together, right? We want to see, from a musician perspective, I want to see every club succeed. In order for that to happen, the bands have to be successful too. So have you thought about putting something together just on a local basis?
No, I haven't thought about actually physically putting something together. It's a good idea. Like I said, I talk to more national clubs than Chicago.
Yeah, no.
Maybe I should, but when Kevin Crack owned Rock House, who's a great guy, great friend of mine. I love Kevin. We talked all the time. So I did talk to Kevin. It's a good idea. I mean, there's you always think of those venues kind of as you're competing against each other.
Yes, I mean, would you report the data? The thing that would get me scared would be like in the old days, you had 2 sets of books. Now everything's credit cards, so you don't even worry about that anymore. So, but would owners say, "Oh man, I took a bath, I'm going to write it in there," or "Hey, do me a solid, up the attendance a little bit," but then you can't, then you get the IRS on you. You think owners would be willing, like a Waze,
Yeah.
I have no qualms about sharing how I do. I don't. Like I said, I have other venues call me and say, how did this band do? I have bands call me, to play the Vixen. They're like, oh, I can pull 400 people for you. I'm like, you can pull 400 people, really? Okay, well, where have you done that before? And they'll tell me, and I'm like, all right, well, I know that person. So I pick the phone call. I'll pick the phone up, and once in a while they're right, but I'm telling you, more times than not, they're bullshitting.
Yeah, they put on an extra 0, right? Or maybe an extra 2 0. Well, the way I look at 3 C's, right? Concede, collaborate, or compete. And I mean, either you can choose whichever one you want. I just know in my business, sometimes it makes sense to have those conversations with my competitors. It's not always an easy conversation, but I think in the long run, it truly helps everybody. And I look at it from a music perspective too. When Kerry does these collaborations, or I do it with Terry, there's a certain, there's a certain intimidation factor. And I think years ago, there might've been a competition, but that collaboration that we have amongst musicians, I think it makes everybody better and it helps their brands.
Yeah, absolutely. And listen, there's a more than enough patrons to go around.
Absolutely.
The technical term is coopetition.
Coopetition.
I'm dead serious.
Did you just make that up?
No, look it up.
And I go to, I go to all kinds of venues. I don't just, I don't go just to the Vixen. I go to all the other venues around here if my friends' band's playing, or heck, sometimes I just want to, I do want to see what they're doing. I do want to find all of it.
Jeff, you had somebody, you have an investor nudge you on the shoulder and say, "Hey, I got this place. I want to fix it up," and you got budget. What's the first three things you're going to allocate money to? It depends on the place, but all things being equal, you have a decent foundation. The stage is okay. I guess what I'm going through is sound, lights, all that. Like, where do you put the money into a club?
Production. I mean, that's it. I mean, it's just, you don't want to go to a place that sounds like, shit. We've all been to those places before, right?
Overpay a sound guy and have lesser equipment?
No.
I
I mean,
no. Jeff's got one of the best. I want to give a shout out to Dave Treadwell.
Dave Treadwell.
I've known Dave since I was in high school. I mean, I've known Dave a long freaking time. He is one of the best that's out there. And I mean, it doesn't matter what.
So defensive in this business. Dave is a great guy.
Telling you, man,
everybody has a great sound guy.
No, Dave is fantastic.
Yes.
No, Dave is a blessing for us. And, we hired Dave as an employee. I mean, that was one of the other things I told the investors early on, a lot. And again, we're blessed. I'm not any club that doesn't do what we do. I'm not ripping on them. They have to have their, contractor guys, they would just pay a guy for a Saturday night and a Friday night, and that's it. We did that early on for about 3 or 4 months until I realized it just wasn't. I was inconsistent people showing up. I hired my first guy, Chris Green, who's he tours the world with bands. He's on the road right now with Armored Saint. I mean, he's a road guy. Hired him for a little bit, and then when he got sick of being in a venue and wanted to go back on the road, Dave was my very first phone call, and I had to beg and plead to get him to come over because he had a very cushy corporate job in audio, and the only way I was going to make it work was to pay him a salary as a full-time employee, as like I did Chris. And like Mike said, he's the best, man. I mean, guy is so organized and so talented, and again, I'll say I'm blessed 50 times in this podcast probably. He cares about my venue. He cares so much about the Vixen. He wants it to succeed. He'll bend over backwards and do things that aren't even in his pay grade. It's very important to all of us that place look clean. Dave paints the stage for us every 3 months. You're never going to see our stage shoot up like one of these, old punk clubs. He paints the stage. I mean, he's not one of these. He could easily say, paint the stage is beneath me. Hire a painter. I'm a professional sound guy. Nope. He paints the stage, man. He's, and Sean, my light guy, same thing. He does all kinds of extra stuff for us. So
Dave takes pride. He takes a lot of pride in the sound. He wants those bands to sound good, and he is going to dial it in.
And that's one of the best. That's one of the best marketing tools that the Vixen has, right? It's like a good restaurant. If you can have a beautiful restaurant, but if that chef and his crew suck, you're not going back. And not only you're not going back, you're telling all your friends how that restaurant sucks. Yeah. I know from firsthand experience, everyone that I talk to, they always bring up Dave Treadwell's name just because the production there it's top notch, man.
Yeah, and he treats every band. I don't care if it's the first time you've ever sound checked or if you're a pro. I see it. I'm sure he gets frustrated with some of these bands and their sound checking abilities. I mean, I know he does.
He does have a short fuse, I will say. But again, I've known him for a long time, so he knows me. So he busts my balls a little bit. But yeah, it's his stage. You better listen to Dave.
But like I said, and when Dave does have the rare off nights, believe me, he is devastated about it. He, it doesn't happen often, but when he has a night where he thinks, and let me back up, his off night is a lot of artists or a lot of.
You got to preface everything, don't you, Jeff?
What's that?
We're gonna have to put the disclaimer on the bottom of the screen.
We love all of our sound guys that we met. I said if Jeff is going to another place and you're going to build something up, like the first thing I take, maybe it's not worth it getting the 1099ers, or how else do you get to try people out before you make them permanent, for the sound guy? you gotta bite the bullet there for a period of time, don't you?
Well, yeah, but I've been around for 30 years in this area. I've been lucky, right? So, I know who the good guys are, and I know the guys. And listen, there are guys that are great that I just don't want to work with because I don't like their demeanor. We all know someone like that. So I have my A list, and Dave was on my A list. There's probably very 3-4 guys on that, and Dave was one of them, and he was my first pick when Chris left, and like I said, thank you, Dave. He came to me.
So we've talked a lot about the Vixen, and you've mentioned, and I don't want to just like switch it away from it, Pete, but before the Vixen, and I think you're still involved with a lot of the festivals that take place in McHenry County. Talk to us a little bit about that, Jeff, because that's really how I met you.
Yep. Yeah. We met at Fiesta Days, I believe.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I, like all of us, I was in bands growing up and all that. And, my dad, we would go, Jim Hart and John Mallion were in my band, actually, if you know those guys. We had a little bit of success, and, my dad's like, I didn't have a job. He's like, you're not going to sit in your room, play guitar and smoke pot all day. You got to get a job. And, I ended up working for a furniture store, and I fell in love with furniture and making furniture. And so when the band thing ended, I hung a shingle out of McHenry and became a furniture maker, and had a high-end furniture antique restoration shop. And I joined the Chamber of Commerce to get business and wanted to get my toe back in the music world. So I volunteered for Fiesta Days and saw how it was run, which was poorly. And so I, bit the bullet the first year and just did, whatever you want me to do. And I made some suggestions to Kay Bates at the time, who was the president of the Chamber of Commerce. And she asked if I wanted to run the music part of it. And so I ran that for 3 or 4 years. And I think my first band I booked was Eddie Money, I think. Eddie Money or Night Ranger, one of those two. And after a while, I was volunteering. And I kind of,
So we're waiting for Jeff, Mike. What's coming up? We're in January now.
I just took a freaking bite, man. You do that to me.
I said bongo, Mike.
Bongo,
I
Mike.
didn't hear bongo.
Yeah, bongo, Mike. Well, man, I am getting ready for the coterie. I am super psyched. Today there was a discussion about how we're going to dress, and I got my outfit already picked out. Yeah.
We decided we're going to go fully clothed this show. Not like the rest. We're going with clothes.
I am wearing clothes that night.
All right, I think I'm back. I'm sorry.
That's okay.
You know what? It's weird. It's just my internet just went out at the house. It never happens.
It went out right on Eddie Money.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well,
fix it in post. So yeah. So the first band I booked was Eddie Money, and then I was gonna stop work after a couple of years. I got kind of sick of doing it for free, and they offered to pay me. And after that, I just kind of blew up. Actually, other municipalities hired me, county fairs hired me, and 20 some odd years later, here I am. I'm not doing as much of it. I'm a little more selective because the Vixen does take up so much of my time. But it's something I've done for a while, and it's
you're not just the Vixen, Mike. Bongo Mike, what were you saying?
Well, no, I was going to ask Jeff about Rise Up.
Rise Up. Yeah.
Yeah, that's your fest, right? I mean, you're throwing that one.
No, I'm the buyer for that, and I ran the stage for it this year. Okay. I am not doing that. That's a project from the mayor of McHenry. And it's his. I was his talent buyer. I did run all the production, all the audio, and all that stuff. Bought all the talent for it. But again, my hands are very, very full. We had we had a little bit of a difference. We're friends still. Don't get me wrong. But we had a little bit of a difference how things are run, and so we just decided to go different ways this year.
There ain't no good guy. There ain't no bad guy. There's only and we just disagree.
Well, Dave Mason for you.
Thank you very much.
But, no, so they're still going to have it. this year. It was a great event. I started it with Wayne, and I'm proud of it. We built it, 20,000 people last year. I mean, crazy event, right?
Yeah.
That's nuts, man.
And who knows? Maybe we'll do it again in a couple of years. We'll go do something else. But this year, 2025, I am not involved with that event.
Okay. It just amazes me to see how, growing up in McHenry County, I grew up in Crystal Lake, born and raised, right? So you look at like Fiesta Days was, to me, the grandfather of them all, right? I mean, because that's where I lived in the area, but it's, you look at the over your years that you've been up there doing that, just the talent that you brought into some of these local festivals. I mean, it's incredible. Some of the names you brought in, man. I mean,
Blue Oyster Cult.
What's it?
Blue Oyster Cult, right?
Tesla. He said Night Ranger, Eddie Money. He's had Steven Tyler from Aerosmith come through. And I don't know if it was Fiesta Day or something else, but you just look at some of these names. It's just like, holy shit, man. McHenry County. That's incredible.
Yeah, no, it's been fun. I mean, especially having those, those mega stars that when you're 17 years old, you have the poster on their wall, and now you're
you had Farrah Fawcett? When was that?
Mike, I did not have Farrah Fawcett on my wall.
Oh, that's right. Damn. That would have been a show.
I just had the Sears Wish book. Jeff, I'm putting your calendar up here. What should we be looking at coming up?
Yeah, what shows you got coming up?
This Friday, Rick Nielsen, Nielsen Trust. That's almost sold out. I think they're 20-ish tickets away from selling out. Saturday, Rock Brigade and Bon Journey, a couple great tribute bands. What else do I have? Thunderstruck next weekend, great ACDC tribute from Ohio. I have Local H in February. Another great bunch of Illinois guys. Ides of March in March.
Is Peterick on that one? Or is it a different Ides of March?
Oh, yeah, Peterick.
Jim Peterick.
Nice.
Got the legendary punk band Screeching Weasel. That show's almost sold out, and that's in March as well. I think we got I know we have over 700 tickets sold for that one already. Wow. So yeah, it's crushing. And I got a bunch of other ones, nationals, that I can't say anything about yet.
No hints, no teasers.
But if you get that Y&T, you're going to call me, right, and say, Mike, I got to keep it on the download.
Absolutely. No, it's so it's we're working to get more and more nationals, but I still don't want to forget about our local friends and our tribute bands and as well as
investors.
Yeah, well, like I said, it's my goal is having a place for everybody. I want everyone to be able to come.
Nice.
Something for everybody.
And then Bongo Mike Dermont, what you guys got coming up? January 19th, Coterie.
The Coterie, the Cooterie, the Qatari, the Coterie.
Black tie, white shirt, jackets.
The Cooterie board.
We're going to wear clothes. We're
doing a benefit for the Holiday Heroes. That benefit's taking place on January 19th at the Sundance Saloon. It's Motown, baby. And we're pumping this one hard. This is going to be a fantastic show. We've got so much talent coming in for this. I don't know if you don't see a lot of Motown acts. I mean, there are a few out there, right? We had the Moods. They do a little bit of soul and a lot of soul in Motown, but this one's going to be fun. And who doesn't like Motown? I mean, come on, it's great music.
I'm going to put a couple practice videos in here. What went down there?
Well, so we are actually practicing. Well, yeah, you're going to have to do the ones from the past, but we have a vocal rehearsal coming up.
Yeah, from this week. I pulled them up unless
those are older.
I posted one.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
But mine was old. Mine was Jimmy O'Connell doing.
Oh, I'm glad I asked. Never mind.
Tears of a Clown.
No. Post it because that's a good one. And it's. Jimmy's
I
an
posted
amazing singer. In fact, he was calling me while we're doing this while we're doing the podcast. Jimmy just got out of the hospital. He was in the hospital for 10 days with a massive infection in his lungs and the flu. And what a lot of people don't know about Jimmy is he suffers from cystic fibrosis. So when he gets sick, I mean, this is life-threatening. Great news, though. He's out of the hospital, sounding great, and really looking forward to getting him on stage, man. And I get to perform a couple songs with him, which is a treat for me. You know, not only do I get to produce these things, I get to surround myself with some amazing musicians who I'm always learning from.
Yeah, for sure.
Jeff Kleinschmidt, thank you so much for taking the time to come on the Hot Pod podcast.
Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
Bongo Mike Dermont.
You guys. Thanks, Jeff.
Shout out to Living My Dash for my new custom.
Oh, yeah.
Living My Dash.
Swag.
Swag.
All right, boys. Take care.